Fill her up.
You're listening to the Gas Digital Network.
Goose and Father Ken in the house.
What's happening, Kenny?
What you doing, fellas?
What's up, JD?
Well, here we are. Right. What is it? Super Bowl 56. Well, I always remember because it's always whatever year the Super Bowl is. I turned the year before that, so I'm 55 now, and it's gonna be 56.
Yeah, but you're a Giants guy, man, so you should remember 56, the greatest linebacker of all time's LT,
without a doubt. Without a doubt.
The best character of all time.
No doubt.
Yes. Wait, but that was pretty good. It was
stand-up citizen.
Yeah, JD, but what was it that they asked LT? They said, well, name me who the three greatest players or changed the game. Remember? And he goes, Jim Brown, Dick Butkus, and me. and it's the truth, though. No, but I mean, they said, man. Name me three players that you admire or that you feel changed the game. And he goes, Jim Brown, Dick Butkus, and me. But it's the truth, man. It really
revolutionized the sport.
Hey, the Bears have a new coach.
Because and that was the best because every team needed, a Lawrence Taylor. It's just like in the music business. Once a band is popular, every label needs one of those bands, whether it's Guns N' Roses, a Bon Jovi, a Nirvana, or whatever band is huge. Whether it's Justin Bieber, it's like, oh, we need to find a kid singer. You know what I mean? And we need a boy band, or we need whatever. I mean, it's just when LT came out, everybody was like, dude, we need a linebacker like that. You know what I mean? But what LT said about they said, is there another LT out there? He goes, oh, well, come on, there's only one LT. But he goes, but if there is another LT, you'll find him in Kansas City. And he was talking about Derek Thomas.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
That's what LT, he's carrying the torch now. He said, he goes, if there's going to be another Lawrence Taylor, he's in Kansas City.
Yeah, I lived in San Diego.
How many sacks did he have in one game?
422. 422 sacks.
I'll just tell you, nobody got around the edge quicker than Lawrence Taylor. He revolutionized the game. I don't think anybody realized. I mean, they thought he was going to be good coming out of Carolina, but man, he was in North Carolina. Let me specify. But yeah, he changed the game. And the Giants linebacking core back in the day, depth-wise, and with Carl Banks, but really the anchor in the middle, Harry Carson, was that guy. 53, man. He was the guy that made it go. Then you had Reasons. You had other guys that came in there.
Yeah, I mean, there was not one chump on that whole thing. Not one weak guy on that linebacker. But you know what, though? When you look at all the great defenses let's review that win Super Bowls, whether it's Doomsday with Randy White and everything like that, and then when you had Doomsday 1 with Bob Lilly, then Steel Curtain, the Raiders, the 70s Raiders, and I mean, everyone talks about, with Joe Cool, with those Niner teams, everyone forgets how amazing those defenses were during the Joe Cool years. No, it's just because everyone always talks about the Niner offense and Bill Walsh and Joe, but no one forgets about how amazing that defense was,
Yeah, Ronnie Lott, of course, me being a big USC guy, 42, man, he was as good as they get. And their secondary was second to none.
Yeah.
Remember the finger?
They kept playing. He was just like, well,
get it off.
That's it.
Be a man. Hey, take it off. Be a man.
Be a man. Keep playing. Be a man.
I just saw they had a great one on Be a Man today. It was like, when you're in a relationship, don't try and mend it. End it. Just walk away.
Be a man.
Be a man.
Walk away. All I know is the Bears got a new GM and the Bears got a new coach. And end of days.
Is it Ditka?
Listen, end of days. I heard both you guys are in the mix. You've both been invited to training camp because Ryan Poles, the new GM, saw the video and said, hey, I need those Bears.
Without a doubt, because you see the defensive prowess of both of us. You saw at the end of that video, just flat out Jack Lambert just pummeling how he just threw Cliff Harris on the ground after
never mind
the kicker for a misfield.
Never mind the speed the speed that we topped out.
You saw coming running out of that garage at the end there, Goose.
Yeah, like a 4-2.
One of the best videos ever, man. I mean, me and Christy were watching. And I watched it about 5-6 times just because JD throws some flurries in there. It looked like Floyd Mayweather at the beginning of that video.
Yeah, that's why he's the Mongoose. It's the speed, bro. He takes out a cobra like it's nobody's business.
There you go.
That's right.
When JD used to fight the cobra, when the cobra was in the band, JD would win those matches 9 out of 10 times.
My Jersey kid.
JD would always take all of Father Chad's per diem money all the time.
The Cobra of Chaos.
Totally. Best 4 out of 5. Make it the best 10 out of whatever it is.
Of course, those were back in Zakk's drinking days, big time. So everybody was getting 2 or 3 per diems. He couldn't remember.
No, I had no idea. That's the reason why to this day I still have no money.
That's when Barb took the card.
That.
Oh my God. Still the best time ever, Zakk, in Vegas. That time you came and we had that great dinner and the bar bill was way more than all the food, which was pretty pricey as well. But I never forget, I get the call from the warden and she's like, Ken, with your connections, it was really cool that you were able to, save us all those money on the suites at the hotel in Mandalay Bay. I mean, that's so cool. It really helped us out budget-wise. However, and I know when Barb says, however, it's not good. However, that night at Del Frisco's, that bar bill, there's no more of that on the off day.
No, when you got like 14 berserkers rolling around between steaks and then some adult beverages, it's lights out.
And the best was Zakk was telling one of his stories, and the lady comes over and she says, "Here's the check. Is there anything else you need?" And I said, one more of those lobster tails to go would be really good, man. It was eggs and lobster, baby, the next morning. But good times, man.
Totally.
Good times.
Always.
Man.
So check this out, fellas. I told the Goose, I said, when we speak with Father Ken, we're going to have to talk about this one. Terry Bradshaw, the legendary Terry Bradshaw. He's a pontiff of all the quarterbacks there. We know that, Hall of Famer. But he said in an article, you saw it probably, Father Ken. He was talking about, and I wish I would have been kind of beloved and respected more, kind of like how Montana is and Brady and everything like that with Captain America. And I go, and somebody wrote on the caption, they go, but his numbers were terrible. Somebody was just saying that. He goes, I'm a fan. Somebody was like, I'm a Steeler fan and I'm a fan of Terry. He goes, but his numbers were horrendous in the Super Bowl. So that's the reason why people always, don't speak about him. I think he mentioned Staubach in there too. He mentioned Roger. He goes, he goes, where Roger is beloved, Joe's beloved, Captain America. Me, not so much. And he goes, it kind of bums me out. But, but what's your take on that, Father Ken?
Well,
JD pointed it out. JD goes, but the numbers don't lie.
No, there's no doubt. And not only that, they have the 4 Super Bowls, but like Brady getting the blessed rule, the tuck rule. Well, the Steelers also were very fortunate there was no videotape replay back in the day because Franco never caught that ball. We all know that. So,
come on. Well, that's because it was against your Raiders, wasn't it?
There you go. But you know what? At the end of the day, Terry came up big.
Hey, we saw – hey, listen, there is proof of that, of him catching that ball. Just go to the Pittsburgh airport. When you come up the stairs, he's right there. Franco's catching that ball. There's a statue.
That's right.
Franco catching that ball right before it hits the ground and bounces off and comes up into his hands. It's proof he caught it. He didn't trap it. He didn't trap it. He caught it. Proof. I seen it at the airport. It's a statue of him.
I actually ran into
just like
Franco.
The statue of Rocky, the greatest fighter of all time from Philadelphia.
Well, I ran into Franco. I went to the Hall of Fame this past year. It was pretty awesome because good friends with Coach Tom Flores, and he went in. They waited till he's 82. Thank God he didn't go in posthumously like my good buddy Cliff Branch, who's going to go in this year, just got elected in, and so we're going back again.
Yeah, we saw that.
Hoping you guys can meet us because Cliff was a great dude, man. Really soft-spoken, great guy.
I'm thinking about those two guys. You had Cliff Branch on one side and Blitnikoff on the other.
Yeah, so here's the story. Here's the story because I'm friends with Daryl LaMonica, and Daryl came down to Vegas and we hung out with Coach Flores. And so Daryl says, Cliff came up. He was a rookie. He was a member of all 3 Super Bowl teams, but he said he was a rookie with me. And, I'm the Mad Bomber. And he goes, I'm about to get sacked. So I see the rookie and he says, screw it. I'll just throw it downfield. He's not going to get it, but at least I'll get rid of it before I get pummeled. So he throws it. And he goes, and then the kid embarrasses me. And I go, what do you mean he embarrassed you? He goes, he stood there waiting for my pass for about a second and a half. And I was like, that son of a bitch, man. Like, what the hell's going on here? So later in the game, he says, I looked and Branch had one-on-one. So I kind of gave him the nod. I'm going to go for it. So he said, I dropped back. No pressure this time. He goes, we already had the game won. He said, I'm going to teach that kid. Do not underestimate the Mad Bomber's arm. So he said, I reared back and I fired this thing. And he goes, I kind of chuckled because I know I overthrew him by 5 yards and he's open. And he goes, then just as I'm turning away, I look and I go, are you freaking? He caught it with his fingertips, took it in the end zone in a big route. But he goes, that's when I realized we had something. We had speed the way Tyreek Hill for the Chiefs today. We had speed the way nobody else did back in the day, except for the Cowboys with Bob Hayes.
Well, yes.
The bullet.
No. I dig it. Or Thurman Munson's speed. Stealing second. Here's a toss-up between Thurman and Ricky Henderson when we're talking speed.
No, Joe Torre, man. Joe Torre was so awesome. He was so fast that he hit into 4 double plays in one game.
That's great.
Oh, man.
Classic. Back in the day.
Love it.
Yeah, man.
Hey, I got to tell you, by the way, coming from my wife, of course, who's a music teacher, she loves the new album. And I know you guys are kicking ass. And I just want to ask you, because everybody wants to know, because it was a long time coming, what's it like being back out there, back out on stage, back on the road?
Well, actually, it was pretty funny. The first show we did, the last show we did was at the rave with the Milwaukee chapter. And then when we got back and we did the show again, that was the last show that we did before the world shut down. And then almost literally 2 years to the day. It was like 23 months. So it was almost 24 months, but it was almost on the same day. And I was just like, Goose, you realize it's almost been 2 years ago already? I mean, like, just flew by. Like, I don't remember high school, 2 years of high school going by that fast at all. It was.
You don't remember?
It was like molasses going uphill in January, bro. Yeah, that was.
But what happened was they put us there again because they were hoping they would shut us down.
Yes, they were hoping we would shut it down again.
Just shut it down again.
Just terrible, Father Ken. Just terrible. But it felt great being out again. And we just did the 2 months. The new album's out. And Doom Crew Incorporated. It's great. We're having a good time, man. So we're looking forward to going back out again pretty soon. And we're getting ready for Europe and everything like that. So, yeah.
Hey, I got to tell you, well, you got the Thorax, the guitar out now, but,
still in the proto stages. We're still getting that guy dialed in. But, yeah, he'll be ready to go.
I saw the Raider is on deck.
Yes, the Raider is on deck. He's getting all dialed in and getting ready. First, we do the cardboard cutouts. Then we do then we start doing the real thing, the wood thing, just to make sure the size is right.
You did that with your bass player. Didn't you do a cardboard cutout of JD before you brought him in?
Yes, and then we said the size is perfect. He's elusive. He can move fast. He can get in and out. This is it. Perfect.
Right.
Make him.
You were able to take that milk carton and make the perfect cutout of JD.
Yes,
awesome.
Yes, that is true.
It was only a quart. Was it?
Had to size it down a little bit. Had to size it down.
We don't want the full gallon.
Oh, the brutality, baby. The brutality.
Nobody gets out alive.
Nope. Wouldn't want it any different way. But no, all right, so what do we got for tomorrow? Who's gonna win this thing? Who's gonna lose the mortgage of their home, and who's walking away a rich man if you put money on who? Who are you going with?
This is a tough call, man. Everybody's counted out the Bengals every time. The Titans, they were supposed to lose. The Chiefs, nobody gave them a shot. I mean,
JD,
I don't know.
Let me ask you guys. Let me throw some questions to you guys.
It's kind of like when the Giants played the Patriots.
Being the sportscaster, let me throw questions. I'm going to throw questions to both you guys. First off, Zakk, if I told you that Tennessee was going to sack Joe Burrow's ass 9 times, there is no way in the world you would have thought they're going to win that game in Tennessee.
No, not after 9 sacks. You're just figuring whoever's getting sacked 9 times is going to lose.
Totally.
JD, let me throw this one to you. Against Kansas City, I mean, here it is. KC's up 21-3. Mahomes on the first play with about 6 seconds left, he throws that ball at the feet of the receiver because there was nothing there. They had no timeouts. There's 5 seconds left. He should have done the same thing because nothing opened up. When he threw it to Hill, Hill had to make it in the end zone. Was Andy Reid at fault there for putting too much pressure on Mahomes to make that decision? Should he have just taken the sure 3 points to go up 24-3?
Of course. I say take the 3 points always. I mean, why would you do that? Then that was it. Then the momentum was theirs.
Yeah, so a lot of people say that, but then KC got the kickoff out of the second half. But that's when Cincinnati's defense, it was amazing because their secondary really shut them down. I was impressed the way Cincinnati's defense was able to cover. They're going to have to do that tomorrow, Zakk, against Cooper Kupp. To me, I know they always give the MVP to the quarterback and Aaron Rodgers gets it, he edges out Brady. But Cooper Kupp, to me, truly was the most valuable player to any one team. Without him, the Rams are 500 at best.
Right. Yeah, he had the Triple Crown.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, so they have props out, tons of props for tomorrow. First off, I'm going to throw the line right now. You can lay 4 points with the Rams, or you can take 4.5 because both those numbers are out there. Zakk, I'll start with you. Would you lay the 4 points with the Rams, meaning you have to win by 5 or more to win the money, or would you take 4.5 points with Cincinnati?
You know what? I think I'm. The way Cincinnati's playing, I'll take my chances with them.
JD?
Yeah.
I hear you, man. Like I said, nobody's giving them a chance, and I don't think they're getting much of a chance this game either. On paper, the Rams should destroy them. Their defense, everything, you know what I mean, is great. If Stafford has a good game, they should win pretty handily. But I gotta go with the kid, man. I'm going with Joe.
There you go with Joe. And Zakk, how much of an advantage for Cincinnati to have 2 weeks to prepare for that Ram defense?
Yeah, I guess, we always talk about this. I mean, every year when these things come about, a lot of people say it's too much time off, you know what I mean? And then the other, you know what I mean? It's because you get kind of like cold, and then, as opposed to, like being super hot just coming in, like how they had to get there. So, and then you also have but the positive is whoever was hurt or banged up will be ready to go, because you have those 2 weeks for your main guys to heal up if anybody's banged up.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's a pro or a con either way on that. You know what I mean? Like if you have too much time off and you're getting cold and the other team has to keep playing and they're just hot coming in. So I understand that theory as well, but I mean, I don't know.
That was cool though that you said that you brought the pro in there and the con, because JD back in the day when Zakk's on tour and him and I were hanging out. This is during the 2 cases of Bex a day days. This was the fun times. And I said,
2.5.
I said
2.5.
2.5.
By noon.
Warden's listening. I'm trying to vouch for you a little bit here. But here's the thing. So JD, I go, Zakk, why don't you, instead of Book of Shadows, why don't you just come out with Amateur Zakk? And then you follow it up with Pro Zakk. And he goes, I know. And then I follow that up with Muzak. So, see? Back in the
it's
day,
like the Who, you know what I mean?
Like
Who's next? Who by number?
Yeah.
Who? So Pete Townsend would always have something to deal with the Who.
There you go.
Yes.
JD, let me throw this to you. Jamar Chase, outstanding receiver, offensive rookie of the year, AFC. Jalen Ramsey, best shutdown corner. They go head to head. Who wins that battle? Jalen Ramsey, is he able to slow him down, or does Jamar Chase get 80-plus yards?
That's a good one. That's going to be a good battle. I'm going to take the kid, man. I'm going with Chase.
All right. What about him,
I'm going to
Zakk?
go Joe Burrow to Chase.
Yeah, I'll roll with the Goose.
There you go. The guys are liking Joe Burrow, the Athens, Ohio kid. And, man, he has stepped up big time. Here's a kid that gets recruited by Ohio State, goes there, can't get on the field, makes the right move, transfers to LSU, wins a national title. Now he's about to potentially be on the biggest stage and take care of business in the Super Bowl. But let's look at Matt Stafford for a second, because here's a guy mired in mediocrity at best. The best seasons with the Detroit Lions were mediocrity.
Yeah, but did you think he was average with the? I always thought he was good.
I did. I thought he was above average.
The team was.
The team was mediocre.
Like,
you always had a good receiver. You had a Calvin Johnson. You had some of the really good receivers.
He always had good numbers, and he didn't make dopey decisions and stuff. Could tell. You could tell he's a top tier quarterback.
Exactly. You know who his friend is that he grew up with in Texas, right? Your daughter's favorite baseball player.
Oh, who's that? Who's it now?
Clayton Kershaw.
Oh yeah, well Kershaw. Yeah, of course.
Kershaw and Stafford, man. They were kids growing up together.
It's just her favorite player. Anything Dodgers. It could be. I don't know what player it could be. Just mention it. The Penguin. Yeah. It doesn't matter. Tommy was
the Penguin. Ron Say, I love it.
The Penguin. He was the best. Steve Garvey.
That's awesome.
Without a doubt.
There you go. All right.
Kenny, do you think Stafford's a Hall of Famer?
I do. I've heard people say he has to win tomorrow or today, and now it's today. He's got to win today, later on this afternoon, to take care of business and solidify himself as a Super Bowl winner. And I look at, I know Elway got his too late in his career, but Dan Marino never won a Super Bowl. Dan did have some pretty unbelievable numbers, and he stood out. But I think Stafford, on, like you guys said, less than good teams, put up steady stats every single year.
Danny White, he was good. No one talks about it, but Danny White put up better numbers than Roger with the Cowboys.
Yes, I wouldn't have even known that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is pretty insane because, you just never thought, because Danny White didn't win any Super Bowls.
Right. That's crazy because
his numbers were crushing. I think Tony Romo's or even Tony's are better than Rodgers.
Tony's are better than any of them.
They throw the ball a lot more nowadays, so I don't think you can really compare it. When you had a split backfield and you had guys like Calvin Hill and Robert Newhouse.
You had Tony Dorsett, you had Robert Newhouse.
Come on.
Right.
And they ran a little
running
different.
Game was way more back then.
You know what was crazy about the game back then? Running backs were so popular back then. You had Earl Campbell, Tony Dorsett, Franco Harris. Everybody. I'm just saying every team had their main halfback. Like
little Joe Morris.
Payton, Joe Morris, Walter Payton. You had all these guys. So it was just like Barry Sanders. The list was in the
JD.
70s and the 80s. Yeah, halfbacks were huge. Were a huge name.
JD, give me the three. Give me the three guys for Miami in the Super Bowl team. Came within 1 yard of all three of them hitting the 1,000-yard plateau the same season.
They got Zonka.
Really? Zonka.
Jim Kick. And Mercury Morris.
Mercury. Yeah, that's right.
Paul Warfield was. You were going to say Paul Warfield, great receiver, great receiver. Yeah,
he was
Bob
awesome.
Greasy.
But that's insane that you can get three guys to gain 1,000 yards because what I'm saying is usually you won't carry the ball enough to get to that number. I'm saying if you got to spread it out amongst three guys, let alone
and they never
two
could
guys.
sack him, Zakk. They couldn't sack him. You know why?
Greasy.
Because he's
very greasy.
Hey, here's something.
See, Ken, that's why I told her the goose is elusive.
I know. The goose is telegraphing his passes, though. The goose is telegraphing. All right, so Zakk, let me ask you something. When we're growing up and you see an I formation, teams like the Cowboys when they're on the 1 yard line, 2 yard line, remember, it was automatic. When the other team got to the 1 yard line, you're like, it's a touchdown. It's a touchdown. Nowadays, because these teams do everything from shotgun, they get down to the 1 or 2 yard line. They can't get the 1 or 2 yards. They're passing for it. And when you watch Tennessee, when they lost to Cincinnati, what did they do on that key 4th and 1? They handed off to Derrick Henry. We knew he's getting the ball, but by the time Tannehill gives it to him, he needs 3 or 4 yards, not 1 yard. And the up and over that we used to have on the goal line all the time, which was automatic, we don't see that anymore.
No, you don't.
No,
you don't.
Players.
Because back then it was almost kind of like we're gonna. You know what? We'll even tell you which way he's going.
Right.
And now it's just you talk about be a man. I'm just saying it's like your manhood against our manhood right now. And we're going to see who's been training harder. I'm just saying because we got to go a matter of inches now to see if you can stop us. So, it's just a matter of our power versus your power. and we're going right up the middle. And you know what? I'll even give you the snap count.
Exactly. And the only time is if that linebacker on defense found the right hole, timed it perfectly, and met the guy in the air.
Yeah, because you could go the other way. I mean, it's just almost kind of like, I guess, with a hockey goalie, or especially in soccer. A penalty kick. You're already, before he kicks that ball, you're already committed to where you're jumping.
Yep.
To block it. Otherwise, forget about it, man. You know, I think they should do that in soccer, though. They should make the net the same size as it is in the NHL. Just bring it down that big. Because already the score is like 2-1 or 1-0. Yeah. That's the scores now. Let's just see what the score is with the net that small.
Yeah, and then you get the walrus from the Geico commercial, and he just sits there.
Exactly. Just get the biggest guy you can, man. Get Van Baden.
Fridge. Bring in the fridge. Here
we go. I got it, because we're just talking about it. But when the Rams played the Steelers, what was that, Super Bowl 14? It
was a great game.
There was one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. Was an offensive lineman for the Los Angeles Rams. Let's see if Father Ken can get this one. JD just knows who it is.
Offensive lineman.
Yes, and he wrestled not that long. He just passed away not too long ago.
I'll say Jackie Slater.
No, not Jackie, but he played with Jackie.
Gosh dang it, man.
One of the greatest Goose is one of the greatest big men of all time in the WWE and all of wrestling.
Oh man. Now I'm feeling bad now. I know you guys know the wrestling a lot better than I do.
It's Vader time. Van Vader.
Wow.
Yes, and he played offensive line, and in that Super Bowl with the Rams, and the Rams were beating the Steelers. They had him on the ropes. They couldn't finish him off.
From the Vegas
Vince
perspective.
Ferragamo.
Yes, I love Vince. And I knew Vince, man. He worked for Touchdown Realty after he retired over there in Anaheim Hills, not too far from the compound. But I had the Rams in that game, and being the betting guy that I was, let me ask you this. Did you
put money on them back in the day? You picked them to beat the Steelers. That's shocking.
Yes, because they were plus, Zakk, this is sick. They were plus 11.5 points.
The Steelers were.
No, the Rams were.
Oh, the Rams were, yeah.
The Rams were plus 11.5. They're winning the game. Frank Corral, the Rams kicker, had not missed an extra point all year. He missed 2 of them in the game, and they lose by 12, 31-19. If he makes one of those extra points, I get the money. What are the odds? The guy misses 2 extra points, and he hadn't missed one all year. Yeah, crazy stuff.
Wow.
The game within the game.
And that's all you're worried about, Kenny.
That's at that time, but I love Jack Youngblood. Found out he played the whole game with a broken leg. I mean, that's back when men were men. There's no doubt.
Well, he's a man. Be a man. He's a man. Got a broken leg. Going to sit the game out? No, you still continue playing.
That's
without any pain medication. Nothing.
And that gave him a tryout on Monty Python's Holy Grail. Okay, get back here, you
flesh wound. Flesh wound.
Exactly. It's nothing but a mere flesh wound.
Good stuff. All right, so listen, there's a concentration on Cooper Kupp and Jamar Chase, Burrow and Stafford. But let's look at some other guys that may come up big. And there's some pretty good odds on guys like JD. I'll start with you. Joe Mixon for the Cincinnati Bengals, 18-1 to win the MVP. Here's the guy that runs it pretty well, but also a good receiver out of the backfield. What kind of game does Mixon have today?
Well, I mean, he's going to have a good game for them to win. I mean, they're going to have to step up. But like you say, you're concentrating on these offensive players, but how about the defense, man? I mean, the Bengals defense in the second half in the playoffs they haven't let up a touchdown, have they?
Yeah, and the Chiefs are not exactly chumps, so coming into this game against the Rams. So, I mean, the Chiefs are one of the...
Was that the Chiefs imploding, or do you think the Bengals adjusting, Ken?
I think the Bengals adjusting because you're down 21-3. Again, KC gets the ball out of the second half. If they come down and score, you forget all about that they didn't score at the end of the first half.
Exactly.
They're up 28-3 or 24-3 as long as they get something. But the Bengals did well. And not only that, you really saw it when they brought guys like Hendrickson and they came after Pat Mahomes, they had him running in circles. So instead of him, just maybe getting a 3-4 yard run or throwing the ball out of bounds, he's running in circles. He ends up losing 10, 12, 15, 18 yards on some of those sacks. And that was key because their secondary did a great job, allowed them to get back in the game. And once they made it 21-13, you kind of felt, it's a one-score game now. They got a shot. And then when they got even, you kind of felt with McPherson, here's a kid 12 for 12 in the playoff games, 4 for 4 in all three games as a rookie. This kid's got ice in his veins, no question.
Yeah, no question.
Yeah, so Zakk, here's 3 props out there that I got on that are around the field goal kickers. First off, the game's in SoFi. It's indoors. Longest field goal, over or under 47.5 yards. I think for sure it's going to go over. Both these guys can nail 50-yarders left and right. Indoors, all you need is 1. And McPherson, 7.5 total points. I see this guy easily getting 2 field goals, 3, but you also maybe a couple extra points and 2 field goals.
Yeah.
So I think McPherson over. And there's one other one that's pretty good as far as the field goal kickers, and it'll come to me in a second. But I like him because Gay's a pretty good kicker for the Rams. Doesn't have the same distance that McPherson, the rookie, has, but both guys are pretty darn accurate. So I see visions of, here it is, the first score of the game. Will it be a touchdown or a field goal or a safety? If you take the field goal or safety, you're plus 140. So that means if you bet $100, you get your 100 back plus 140 if that first score is not a touchdown. I think
what happens if you put $1,000 down?
And you'll get back $1,400. You get your 1,000 back, and then you get another 1,400.
And that's for either a safety or a field goal,
or a field goal, safety or a field goal. The only time a safety was a few years
that one
back.
game.
Peyton Manning gets sacked by Seattle. That was it.
Yeah, and what's his face? There was a comedian. I forget his name. I forget. He actually put like $10,000 down on it as a joke, and he
won.
And won big.
Like all his friends were like, "Oh, dude, what are you doing?" And he was like, "Yeah, he cleaned house." Because it was like the odds were like, forget it.
What are you doing, dude? What are you doing? I'm drinking like Zakk used to. What do you think I'm doing?
Exactly. Oh man, but yeah, he actually ended up winning. I think it was Dan. I forget the last name, but he ended up. He said he was with his buddies. He was just like, you know what, man, I'm going to put a batch of money down on the safety first play of the game.
Why not?
And it actually happened. The one with
JD reminds me of when Zakk and I went to the Hard Rock over in New York, and we had to draft our fantasy football team for charity. And so Maurice Jones-Drew was there. He was in the and he gets like first pick. He takes himself.
Yeah, he took himself.
He lost.
Right? That's great.
Yeah, he lost. When me and Zakk ended up winning the whole thing. It was great.
He lost.
Twice.
Came back from the dead.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The best was we beat Artie Lang and Nick DiPaolo in the Super Bowl, and it was the best because
it's awesome.
Nick DiPaolo was a real wise ass when Zakk was going up on stage in his bell bottoms until he saw.
I didn't have the bells on. He was taking a piss out of his head.
He saw all these skull rings and Zack's fist clenched, and he's like, I better shut up.
He's a good dude, though. He's good times. But no, I'm done. Well, we'll see what happens. Now, let me ask you this. Well, again, what would you say was the most exciting last Super Bowl that you've seen that was just pretty much monumentally unbelievable? For me, me and the Goose, when we were watching Captain America come back from 658 against the Falcons.
Yeah.
It's only minutes to play, and he scores 722 points.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. I would have fired the coach right at the third quarter. I would have fired him.
No, remember we were watching the game. I go, I was just like, wow. I go, they have no answer for this run. They have no answer. They can't stop the running backs. And it was both running backs were just like barreling right down the field. And then we were just like, all they got to do is keep running the ball, and just drown them.
Eat the clock, run the ball.
Instead, they went to the pass.
Absolutely.
And the rest is history. Captain America comes back, scores 722 points, and wins the game.
I don't know if you guys ever saw the little video that Peyton Manning did. He was hosting a Super Bowl party at his house for that game. And so he's like, all these people are there. And there's a few Patriots fans, but pretty much most people are rooting for the Falcons. And Peyton's like, I don't have a dog in the fight. I don't care. Whatever. I just hope they have a good. And then he's loving it. It's 28-3 Atlanta. And he's like, oh, another touch. So then he's there. And then, Brady starts making the comeback and it's 28-10. And he goes, oh, that's nice. At least they were able to get in the end zone once. Then it's like 28-17, whatever. And so all of a sudden now Peyton's like, now it's 28-24, whatever. Now he's vacuuming. He's vacuuming in front of everybody. And just like this, by the time they're on their final drive to take the lead, he's kicking everybody out of the house. You got to go. I don't care who wins this game. I got to clean.
That's great. But that's great that Peyton's a good sport like that, man.
It's funny, man. Yeah. Good times. But I remember I did have Atlanta in that game. And I would have lost money big time because the Patriots, of course, wouldn't buy a touchdown. They get the touchdown and cover the spread. But I took the Patriots at halftime down 21-3. They weren't down 28-3 yet. I took them 21-3. And that money line bet that I took on New England just for a little bit made me as much money as I would have won on the Falcons had the Falcons held on and won. So sometimes hedging is a good thing sometimes, especially against Brady. Let me ask you, Zakk, because Brady's done this his whole life, and you call him Captain America. When they come back from the dead against this Rams team, you're thinking like he's going to do it again.
When I was watching it, I think I was at when I saw that, I was just like, I was actually at Dick's Sporting Goods. I was going in there to get something. It was up on the screen. I figured the game was over anyways, you know what I mean? Because they would get blown out. And then all of a sudden I watched the play when he tied the game. And I was like, you got to be kidding. Because everyone was taking the piss saying, we won the game and, Captain America's finished and it's over.
Yeah.
And he came back, once again, the score was 723-8. And he comes back and he ties the game. And I was just like, wow. He's just absolutely amazing. I mean, it's just unstoppable. But and then I went and got what I had to get, and then I came back and the game was over.
Well, here's the thing, because you were asking me about Stafford, Zakk. You were asking me, is he a Hall of Famer? Those two passes to Cooper Kupp with under a minute to go, I think solidifies him because they didn't sit back and just say, hey, let's go to overtime. Let's play conservative. He came out and finds Kupp twice. And that second one over the top, I don't think there's no way Tampa Bay thought they're throwing a pass like that. They're probably trying to nickel and dime and get a long field goal shot before the end of the game. Yeah. They throw that pass. You see Kupp catch it. The game's over. I mean, as long as they don't screw up the field goal, it's going to be a short field goal. And so I give the Rams a lot of credit because you go into overtime with Brady, the GOAT, you're in trouble. They got all the momentum, and they didn't do it. They didn't sit back. Yeah. And Stafford made the two big passes to Kupp.
He did.
Well, like you said, that's at a moment where, your defense has got to stop him, man. You know what I mean? After your quarterback brings you back like that, you got to hold him. You got to hold him, man.
Here's the other thing. I mean, the Rams have never won one in Los Angeles. They won the one in St. Louis. The Bengals, of course, losing both their Super Bowls to San Francisco. They had shots to win it. I mean, Pete Johnson stuffed 4 times from the 1 yard line.
It's so funny. Everyone forgets about those Super Bowls. The Bengals could have won those Super Bowls.
Yeah, both of them. Yep,
well, the first one they could have won.
Yeah, they didn't get blown out.
Within one score of both games.
Smoked them.
Yep.
No, it was almost kind of like with the Steelers. They could have lost that Super Bowl against the Rams. They could have lost.
Didn't the Niners destroy them though?
Yeah.
The second time?
No. Both games were close. In fact, and that's the thing. I mean, so Joe Montana, perfect in Super Bowls, but that close to losing both times to Cincinnati.
Yeah, he could have lost to them both times. They were great teams. I remember even Boomer was saying, he goes, man, we did some amazingly cool stuff when we were in when we were in Cincinnati.
Yep.
I
watched them play the Rams.
We really did some cool stuff because he was just like,
I was getting confused with the Broncos.
Yeah, they got
destroyed. Right? The Niners destroyed them.
Yes, crushed them.
Yeah.
Who's that?
Yeah.
The Broncos.
The Broncos, but
the next Super Bowl after. Oh yeah, that's the one. Because remember, every Super Bowl, Elway consecutive, each one of those losses was worse than the previous one. Yeah. You know what I mean? So like after he lost 3 of them, he must have been like, man, I'm not cut out for this.
Yeah.
That's why I always tell everybody. And he stuck around and hung in there. and got those 2 victories, man. I'm
That's
just
right.
saying, because you talk about persistence of just because each one of those losses was more of a beatdown and more disappointing than the last one. You know,
So that's
but as
what.
great
Okay,
as
so
Elway was, he still needed Darrell Davis, man.
Terrell Davis,
yeah, without a doubt, man.
Well, here's the thing.
Shows you.
Here's the thing as far as those props, as far as the quarterbacks running the ball. So if you look at Stafford, he didn't run more than 2 times a game. In fact, he averaged 1.6 rushes per game during the regular season. But during the 3 playoff games, he's averaged 4 rushes per game. And the prop is 2.5 over or under. Also, he didn't run for a lot of yardage, but he does. He's in the game against Arizona. In the game against Arizona, you're thinking Kyler Murray, right, is going to have some big runs. It was Stafford, 6 carries for 22 yards. Kyler Murray, 2 for 6 yards. Absolutely embarrassing. That Ram defense just clamped down and embarrassed the Cardinals.
Totally.
So I like both those quarterbacks
over.
Yep, both quarterbacks over.
They're going to be chasing him. They're going to be chasing him.
Well, that's the other thing with Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow's rushing total is 10.5 over or under. So the reason I'm going over is because Joe Burrow, to me, is going to roll out right probably 3 or 4 plays to start the play. Why? Because you want to keep Aaron Donald and Long and those guys off balance. So if you roll the pocket right a few times and have a little tight end rollout. Now, remember, there's Higbee's also out for the Rams, and that's key. Uzoma is back for Cincinnati. He'll play, and that's key too. So I think Burrow's going to roll out, and Burrow's fast, man. He's not a slow kid. You saw him get that big first down run against Kansas City. So I think both guys go over. And Stafford, like Elway, remember Elway running for that touchdown in the Super Bowl and doing the helicopter, like getting pummeled. But he knew, hey, it's near the end of my career. If I don't get in, we're never going to win a Super Bowl. And I think you'll see the same mentality from Matthew Stafford.
Definitely.
We'll see. I mean, let me ask you this. How many more years do you think Stafford has left in his career?
I'd say with that offensive line being what it is, with the receiving core, I'd say at least 2 or 3.
Wow. Yeah. Not 5?
I'll say 2 or 3 just because
I'd say
a guy like that, and that's one of the most amazing things to me about Tom Brady, because he's not a big, fast guy. He's rather slow. And somehow he always felt the blind side. He always felt it. He had that little clock ticking in his head. He got rid of the ball. When's the last time, seriously, that you can tell me you remember Tom Brady getting blindsided and coughing it up?
Yeah, like Joe Montana when Marshall just crushed Joe. Yeah, I know when Joe Joe missed a whole season from that hit, man. But I mean, I'm thinking, the one thing about Brady and the one thing about Dan Marino, they never took hits like that. Never. No. They would always, they never hung on to the ball, ever.
But you know what's crazy? Eli took a lot of hits.
Oh, yeah.
And he never missed a game, man.
Well, here's the one thing that people ask me. They say, hey, does Eli belong in the Hall of Fame? And I said, listen, he beat Brady twice, but he also won the biggest game in NFL history. And when he wins that Super Bowl, when the Patriots are 18-0, that is the biggest game in NFL history. It's the biggest upset because that Patriot team wasn't just 18-0. They were murdering teams. They were putting up 40s and 50s like they were nothing. Yeah. And people thought, here's a wild card Giants team. They got no shot to beat this team. And Eli, the pass to Tyree, not only was the catch immaculate, but Eli gets out of a sack that he never got out of. He looked like Superman doing it. And that whole thing let you know the Giants were going to win that game in the pass to Burris.
It was, but the Giants, the Giants, when they were talking about that loss, they were saying that even though we played them in that last game of the season, they beat us. We all knew, we can beat these guys.
That's right.
Like they're human. They
played all their players.
Can beat. Because the Giants barely lost that game.
And New England wanted it. Even though New England was in the playoffs, they wanted it because they wanted the perfect season. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but you know what? If you really think about it, I mean, what was the the perfect season with the Dolphins? They were 17 because it was 14 regular season games. Then they had to play the playoffs and the Super Bowl, so they were 17-0. That is the record to beat. I know that the Patriots did not win the Super Bowl. They didn't pull it through, but they did win 18 consecutive games.
Doesn't matter. The folks in New England, with all those rings they have, they never talk about that season, even though, like you said, was the greatest regular season.
Yes,
but they didn't cap it off. They didn't cap it off with the Super Bowl. So now imagine if they won that game 19-0. That's all we're ever hearing. We're not hearing about any of the other rings. We're hearing about 19-0, perfect season. Right.
That one. Yeah, of course. True.
Although because I always thought to myself, yeah, but they went because the regular season then was only 14. So, we're saying like consecutively winning games, it was 17 games without losing. And I go, nothing for nothing. They won 18 in a row. You know what I mean? If we're talking about, I know they didn't win the Super Bowl, but it is 18 consecutive.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, like, if the batting average is, with Ted Williams, it's 400. Like, if you bat 403, that means you beat him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So you can take that home run that Mantle hit 60 in 154 games, and then Maris hit 61 in 162 games. So the 8 more games, only 1 more homer, but everybody knew Maris had the record because that's what they looked at. They didn't care it was 8 more games. They gave him the record for the single season.
Yeah. And I know you're saying it is 8 more games, which is it's not fair though. You know what I mean? Because you got to go by, if Babe Ruth, the record was 60 home runs and he did it in 100 games, let's just say.
154, right?
All right, well, 154, but I was just making an analogy. If it was 100 games and then, McGuire came in and broke it then, and he hit 65 home runs, but he did it in 125 games. It's like, bro, you had 25 extra games.
Right.
It's like Babe had 100. So, it's got to be that, whoever hits the most by 100 games,
They should separate it. They should separate, and they have to do that now because this year was the first year of 17 games. And even though it's 1 more game, all of a sudden, hey, I got over 1,000 yards. Yeah, but you played 17 games, not 16. So we have to look at it a little bit differently now.
Well, I mean, well, look at OJ when he, 2003, and that was in 14 games, right? When he did it with Buffalo.
Yeah.
It was 14 games.
Right.
That's insane.
Yards. Yep.
I mean, that's insane.
That's crazy. It's 17 games now, though. That's just crazy.
17 games, and then you figure, like Zakk said, Miami had to go 17 games. By the way, when Miami did go 17-0 and win that Super Bowl against Washington, their winning percentage of the teams that they played was under 500 collectively for the teams that were on their schedule.
Really?
So, I mean, they don't make the schedule; they play who's on their schedule.
Right.
But that's the way it was.
Wow! But the majority of their games were played against under 500 clubs.
That's correct. And now,
still though, I mean, by the time you get to the playoffs and you get to the Super Bowl and you got to play the Redskins aren't chumps,
right?
And either is actually anybody that's in the playoffs. You're not playing against under 500 teams. I mean, put it this way: let's say that 10 of the teams were horrendous, and they were easy wins. It's like boxing a bunch of chumps, and then eventually Mike Tyson's going to have to box Evander Holyfield. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, Mike, in the beginning, you could say he fought tomato cans or whatever, but then as Mike was getting further and further up, he's fighting guys that are good, so you can't say he's not fighting nobody. So, I think by Miami, by the time they got to the playoffs, you're playing the best of the best at that point. In any sport.
So we'll wrap this up after the game. But Zakk, let me go to you first. Give me your score, your prediction, and who's going to be the MVP. Before we kick it off, I want to make sure I have you guys locked in so I know what you're going for.
Well, like I said, I mean, I'm seeing a lot of talk about like maybe 27, 24, under 30 points. A lot of people are saying. So I don't know. Well, let me ask you this, Goose. What are you thinking? Do you think it's going to be a high-scoring game?
This game is so unpredictable because like I said, the Bengals
look at how good Cincinnati's defense played against Kansas City, and then like you said, who knows? They might show up tomorrow, and it's just like, wow, this is terrible.
I'm not letting you off the hook, Zakk. You go first. Give me your final score. You think the Bengals are going to win? Give me the score.
Yeah, I'll take the Bengals. 20. You know what? I'll go with that score. I'll go 27-24.
There you go. I got it down. JD?
Man, this is a tough one, Ken.
Come on, baby.
I mean, on paper, the Rams should destroy this team, but
they're not playing on paper. They're playing at SoFi, man.
And the Patriots should have destroyed
and they're
the
playing
Giants.
at SoFi. It's the second year in a row where a team is playing in their own building.
Right? Never happened, and then 2 years in a row.
Gun to my head, I'm going to have to say I want the Bengals to win, but I got to take the Rams.
Why? Because they're playing at SoFi?
Yes, they're playing at home.
Give me the score,
but
JD.
Is it really home field advantage, do you think? Is it?
I mean, it's their own locker room.
I mean, it's not like the Miami Dolphins are coming into Chicago and playing the Bears.
Cincinnati is actually, Cincinnati's designated as Cincinnati's actually designated as the home team, and they will be wearing their black jerseys. Cincinnati will be wearing their black jerseys. JD, give me the score, man. You got the Rams winning?
I got the Rams winning 33-24.
Wow, that's close to the score that I put in the paper here in Vegas. I put the Rams 31, Cincy 23.
Wow.
So, Zakk, you're there with Joe Burrow?
Yes, I got the Bengals just because I think they got great uniforms. I even liked them when they just had Bengals on the side of the helmet. I thought it was like, Ken, JD, come up with a cool helmet for us. And you go, because you show up with Bengals on the side.
Not even cool letters.
Well, that's all letters. That's all you can come up with.
Like some second grader, like just printed Bengals. All right, that works.
I guess you guys had other things to do.
Yeah, but look, they knew they didn't have to do much to be the coolest helmet in Ohio because the Browns had nothing.
Well, you know why? You know why the Bengals uniforms were like they were? Because Paul Brown started the Bengals, right?
Right.
So that's the reason why he wanted the uniform to look almost identical to the Browns uniform.
Wow.
Yep.
And originally
that's why it only said Bengals on the side. It's basically a Browns helmet with Bengals on the side. And that was on purpose, man.
Zakk, real quick, you have the Bengals. Is Joe Burrow your MVP, Zakk?
I would say Randy White and Harvey Martin for the MVP in this one, but
for a Giants fan, he loves those Cowboy guys. He loves Randy White.
Randy White was my guy growing up.
Randy White,
and I loved Jack Lambert, so I was a defensive guy. But yeah. Well, like you said before, usually it's always the quarterbacks. Yeah, I guess I guess I'll go with I'll go with Joe. Yeah, because obviously I got them winning, so I'll go with him. I was gonna, like you said, it was a toss up between Joe or Bob Lilly, but I'll go with Joe.
JD, give me your MVP.
Bob Lilly.
Bob Lilly Munster.
There you go. Lily Munster. I got Grandpa Munster. Grandpa Munster coming out of the dungeon.
Munster.
Herman Munster, the best, man.
You know what's crazy? I mean, if Cooper Kupp catches 4 touchdowns, Stafford threw 4 touchdowns. So who would they give it to? They give it to the quarterback.
Unless Beckham throws him one on the end around.
How about that pickup? Nobody's even talking about that. That was huge.
You don't hear Robert Woods' name mentioned anymore.
Well, that is pretty odd, though. Like JD just made a point. If Cooper does catch 4 TDs, is he going to get the MVP?
No.
The quarterback.
Stafford threw him.
But then again, maybe if the quarterback, if Stafford throws another touchdown, he has 5 touchdowns in the game, 4 went to Coop, and then 1 goes to the tight end,
OBJ,
another wide receiver. So he has 5 total touchdowns. So I guess you'd have to give it to the quarterback. But that is that the Goose does have a good point.
Yeah.
Like if Roger Staubach threw 4 touchdowns to Drew Pearson, who's getting the MVP? Is it Roger or Drew getting it?
Yeah. It's always
Phil Simms throws 4 touchdown passes to Bavaro. Is Bavaro getting it or is Phil getting it?
Yeah.
Well, Phil Simms still 22 of 25 in that 1 Super Bowl victory against the Broncos. Pretty impressive percentage-wise. Hey, remember, Higbee's out for the Rams, but this kid, Kendall Blanton, he's a pretty good young tight end, man. Keep an eye on him. He could have he can make some plays, man. So
that's a big loss. Higbee's good, man.
Yeah, no doubt. He's solid. And there's another prop-up, Will Johnny Hecker, the punter for the Rams. Will he throw a pass? And
will he throw up?
Here's a good one because we're talking about MVPs. Do any of the running backs on either one of these teams have a chance at being an MVP, or is that not going to happen?
No, I think
what are the odds on that? What is the Vegas odds on that one?
Well, Mixon's 18-1. Cam Akers is about that. I don't think Sony Michel's going to get the ball much since Akers is healthy now. I think those are your two guys. Yeah. And there's props up on all these different guys. I also played that there will be a successful 2-point conversion, and that was plus 250. So you put up 100, you put up 1,000, Zach.
Yeah,
you get back 2,500 if there is a successful
also the
2-point
Bengals
conversion.
have hired the fridge in case they do need a 2. Just he's come out of a time just specifically for this. He reached the deadline and he's ready to go.
There you go.
He weighs 470 pounds.
Dude, how great was that when they used? How great was that '85 Bears team, though, man?
Yep. That changed.
We still do that dance. Me and JD, the Super Bowl shuffle. We do it still in the snub.
Well, here's what happened. A little Vegas caveat right here. When that prop happened, that was back in the day. And one of the guys put it, the sportsbook director put it, and he ended up going on to a long career here in Las Vegas. But Art Manteris was his name. He put that prop up there. Would the fridge score a touchdown? And everybody started betting, and it started at 20-1. There was so much money put on it by people that it ended up closed at 2-1. And it wasn't happening, and it looked like the books were going to be there. Sure enough, the fridge comes in the end of the game, and he gets the touchdown against New England. And this guy who put that prop up, he thought he's fired. He's done. That's it. It's over. I can't believe it. They waited till the end of the game, and the fridge, he knew. He didn't even watch it. He shut his door at the sports book, and when he heard the crowd going berserker like, he knew. He knew that he had lost all this money for the casino. And so what happened was the next day he got a call from the big man, and he didn't even want to field it. He was kind of like cleaning out his locker already.
Yeah.
And the guy said, "No, I'm not going to fire you." He goes, "Yeah, we took it in the shorts. We lost several $100,000, and back in that day was a lot of money in 1985. But he said the publicity that we have gotten worldwide from that prop has more than tripled what we would have had to pay for that type of marketing. So you got your job, and I think they gave him I think they gave him a raise as well. Pretty cool."
Wow, that's pretty funny.
That's great.
That's awesome.
Hey, Ken.
Yes.
What's the prop? What's the prop for the first touchdown?
The first touch, okay, there's a bunch of different ways you can bet it as far as individual players getting it. But if you think the first score will be a touchdown, you have to lay 150 to win 100. If you think that it will be.
to pick the player.
Oh, well, they're all different. They all have different odds.
Yeah.
Cooper Kupp naturally is the odds-on favorite pretty much as far as the first touchdown. So, there's a whole list of all of them. And then they have who would score the first touchdown, who would score the last touchdown. There's also one other prop that I played, and it got pretty expensive. You actually have to lay, last I saw, $230 to win 100. Will there be more points in the second half than the first half? And the answer is yes. So we laid that. If you got to it early, you could have laid 150 to win 100. But that prop has cashed in 14 of the last 15 Super Bowls that there have been more points in the second half than the first half.
Wow, that's crazy. That's a good one.
Yep.
But so I was gonna think about taking OBJ for the first touchdown because I think they'll be covering Coop.
You'll get at least 6. I think you get at least 6-1 on that.
Yeah, that'll be a good one.
And remember, let's remember the name T. Higgins as well, because if Ramsey's on Chase, that may slow him down. And T. Higgins, a big boy, and he's got good hands. And with Uzoma, banged up, he might get some action, but he's not going to be as effective as he was during the regular season. So keep an eye on T. Higgins for the Bengals. If Zak's going to be right as far as Cincinnati winning, T. Higgins could be a big part of that.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, there you go.
Good stuff. We got to mention Aaron Donald because he's one of the mainstay guys. Got to get a few of the defensive guys in there. But Ramsey, I mentioned. You got Von Miller. Von Miller's actually more of a favorite than Aaron Donald now as far as to be MVP. But the Rams are a different defense with a healthy Von Miller, Zach.
Oh, we'll see what happens. Without a doubt.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, Doom Crew. Well, we'll be back after the game. Looking forward to it. I want to thank you guys for inviting me.
Oh, yeah. Well, it was great having Father Ken here.
It's the 13th. It's the 13th Wylde Goose podcast on the 13th. How cool is that?
Without a doubt.
Awesome.
But yeah, I can't wait. Like you said, like the Goose posted earlier, he said, tune in to get zero insight, zero information about the Super Bowl or anything in life in general.
There you go.
But it's gluten free. So what can I tell you?
When it comes to us, it's the stupid bowl.
It's the Super Bowl.
You know what? Let me just tell you, you two guys, when it comes to sports, and that includes baseball, because you're both big, JD, a big Mets fan, Zakk, a big Yankee fan. But you guys, it's funny because in the world of sports, those guys want to be musicians. And in the world of music, a lot of you guys want to be those athletes, and you know a lot. You guys know a lot. You joke around a lot, but both of you guys have great knowledge in the sports
JD,
world.
of all the Black Label alumni, is the only one to get a base hit at Shea Stadium.
Shea.
The original Shea.
Nice.
Yes, JD got a base hit.
That's awesome, JD.
Dave Wallace threw the pitch. I took John Franco's bat and hit it. It was amazing.
Nice. Again, John Franco, man, the tightrope walker in the bottom of the ninth every freaking game.
Forget it.
Bring the Maalox and the Pepto if Franco's on the mound. Unreal.
All right, brothers.
All right, so JD and I both have the Rams. Zack's got the Bengals. We'll be back after the game.
Are we catching up in the middle of the game and after the game? What are we doing?
No, just after the game.
Just after the game.
All right.
Middle, I have a job to do. I got stuff I got to do.
You got things. Zack's in the kitchen cabinets over there.
Zack's got to watch the halftime show, man. Mary J. Blige, that's his gal, man.
Oh, I'm all about it. I'm watching it.
Great
stuff. About the halftime show, yeah, without a doubt.
All right, we'll be back after the game. It's going to be another great Wylde Goose, and we'll wrap things up a little bit later. Ken Thomson, JD, the greatest man, John DeServio, and of course, there's nobody better than ZAKK, Zakk Wylde. We'll be back, Wylde Goose, after the game.